what a week it has been. We're here today because I wanted to talk about the future of Destiny PvP. You know, a lot's been up in the air. We kind of went through the period of conjecture and speculation, and now as the dust is settling, we have actual journalists with actual sources doing actual research and giving us actual information. These sources include people inside Sony, people inside Bungie, people who were laid off from Bungie, actual developers who were connected to these situations and have some insight to offer. Now, the majority of this information is going to be a bit of a mashup between stuff that we've learned from Jason Schreier's write-up, as well as Paul Tassi's article that he posted this morning on Forbes. So I would highly encourage you guys to check those articles out if you want to see the information for yourself. And we're going to use that information as a launching platform to have a discussion today. But obviously, I want to make sure that those guys get credit for the work that they've done. So I will leave the links in the description and a pinned comment for you to check out their articles and their write-ups so you can see the information for yourself. And what we'll do today is just discuss their findings. Okay. Heck of a week. You know, we got a lot of information about what's been going on behind the scenes at Bungie in the recent years. We also got some insights into leadership goals and their concerns as well. But really what I want to shift the focus on to today is really a conversation about where we're going from here. And what Jason Schreier and Paul Tassi have reported, according to inside sources, is that Destiny will continue to move forward. They're going to be prioritizing things like raids and dungeons. We're still going to get destinations. We're not going to get these major DLCs that kind of have everything all at once, you know, exotic missions, destinations, raids, all into one big bundle. It's going to be just more spaced out over time instead of these giant content drops. And we're also going to be getting things like we got with Into the Light, where it was this new activity with things to chase. It was all sort of a smaller contained bundle. It wasn't a full-blown DLC, but it was highly successful and people really rallied behind that whole event. What's concerning, though, is that we have a distinct lack of information about what to expect from PvP. There have been no promises made. In fact, quite the opposite. We have a lot of information given to us from these gentlemen about projects that Bungie was working on, because they said they spread themselves too thin. Okay, well, what were they working on? So we've got a lot of different projects, you know, the Gummy Bears thing, which is now absorbed by Sony, and the team from Bungie that went along to continue working on that, which is interesting, I guess. We know that there was never a Destiny 3 proper, but there was this third-person open-world adventure game that was in the Destiny universe and used Destiny characters, which was headed up by Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy. That's no longer happening. Therefore, there was no parallel position for them to land at, so they bailed. But that was part of a bigger goal to basically split Destiny up into these smaller little projects, these other IPs, these other games that were all contributing to this universe that we were playing in together. And I guess one of those projects was actually a 3v3 PvP game that kind of spun off of Trials of Osiris. Paul Tassi actually reported that they were spinning out a separate 3v3 Crucible game, channeling Trials. So we've often wondered as PvP players in Destiny, like, where did our team go? Did they all go to Marathon? Because clearly it stopped, right? I mean, there was a pretty obvious time in the timeline where the break happened where as PvP enthusiasts, we went from getting big content drops alongside everybody else to suddenly that part of the game got cut. And we were just getting the PvE content drops with every DLC. And we were like, hey, did you forget about the PvP stuff? And they're like, you know, they just sort of hand waved it. And eventually we said, listen, you got to make something for us. And they're like, we can't. We'd have to take people off of PvE. And then that was our confirmation that our PvP team, our PvP developers, were no longer working on Destiny. They just weren't there. And this is confirmation. Obviously, we know that Marathon, some of the people who worked in PvP in Destiny went to Marathon, but we also now know that they were working on a 3v3 Crucible game, channeling Trials, per Tassi and his inside sources. So that's another place where PvP folks from Destiny went to. So a lot of this has been confirmation of what we already suspected to be true. But if those projects got canned and those teams got let go, and we're now just refocusing on Destiny, the question is, what does that mean for PvP? What does that mean for the Crucible experience? Well, I'm a little bit conflicted on this, but altogether, it sounds like PvP in Destiny is not something that's going to be a priority moving forward. We have fewer people working on Destiny now than we had back when we were getting nothing for PvP anyways. So I certainly wouldn't expect more investment into PvP. If anything, probably less. But at the same time, we also got some information from Liana, interesting stuff on Twitter, where she confirmed that one of the developers, Amber, had been she basically found out that she was making a map pack that was a thing that they were doing when Joe posted his video saying, here's our promises to you, we're going to make a map pack. And she was like, what? So, that was interesting. I also have questions about the timeline on that too, because it was very shortly after he announced that in his video that I actually got an email from an inside source at Bungie myself. And they said, hey, just so you know, like, we're already playtesting these things. So it's like, man, how fast did they whip those maps up? That's wild, actually. If they found out they were making a map pack when Joe posted the video, and then it was shortly after, like literally weeks after that, that I got an email that they said we're playtesting them. That's insane in terms of the timeline. Like, it just doesn't seem to actually compute. Like, I would be inclined to assume that work on the map pack had already begun with a smaller team, and then the people who were going to be leading those teams and helping orchestrate the delivery process, maybe that's when they found out, was when the video was made by Joe, and then they were brought in on what was already being developed at that point. I would assume, but I don't know, because it just doesn't make sense that they would have been whipped up so rapidly. But that being said, we did learn then that they can make maps, and they can do it in a very quick fashion. The question is that a healthy thing? Obviously, for the developers, they were probably under, I would assume they were under a lot of crunch. And Tassi even told us what we were delivered with the final shape, and the stuff before that with Into the Light was really, really crunched, because they told the developers this is basically it. Like, you either make a great product, or you're probably gonna have to close their doors and you're gonna be out of a job. And they feel pretty betrayed, because they did deliver with Into the Light. They did deliver with the PvP map pack, which I think is an exceptional map pack. I think those are 3 phenomenal maps, very inventive, fun to play on. And then they delivered with the final shape, with one of the best stories we've ever had in Destiny, some of the best missions, one of the best locations, some of the best puzzles to solve. All of it was delivered very, very well. And they still got canned. So that really sucks. But what does that mean for PvP? Here's what I would expect in the meantime for PvP. Until we are given any kind of a promise, I feel like if they had something meaningful to deliver the PvP community, they would have said so by now. We had a live stream where they told us about their roadmap for the episodes, where they're going, the vampire themed episode, and one after that. They told us about Frontiers, and they told us about these things that will be coming, and then they doubled down this week and said, listen, those things are still coming, so don't fret. I mean, in the wake of this news, I know you're thinking doom and gloom, but these things are still coming. And we're still going to provide raids, we're still going to provide dungeons, we're still going to provide ritual activities for the hobbyists out there as well. But what is distinctly lacking in this communication so far is anything at all about PvP. And that's what makes me really worried. So because of that, I would expect, for you PvP enthusiasts out there, that for the immediate future, we should expect little to nothing. Besides, I think we will continue to get sandbox updates, right? They'll tweak the knobs and the levers and the dials to make sure that things don't get egregiously out of control. Well, at least not indefinitely out of control. I think Prismatic Hunter has been pretty out of control for a pretty long time at this point. They are addressing it finally, so hopefully we'll continue to get timely updates to the sandbox so things like that don't happen for too long. And I also think that we'll probably get new guns every now and then infused into comp and infused into trials, and like Unending Tempest, just your ritual Crucible drop. Probably get one of those as well. But I think that will probably be about it. We might get some changes to game modes as well. I think it'll be really modifying what's already there and not innovating and creating new content for PvP. That would be my guess. I do not expect to get anything new for PvP for a considerable amount of time, outside of updates, a few weapons, and modifications to the game modes that already exist. And that's probably it, to be frank. The thing about PvP, though, is that when it is fun, when it is a good, well-balanced, well-orchestrated, well-match-made activity, it can be its own reward. We don't, as PvP enthusiasts, we don't always need something incredible to chase. We just need a place to fall into for our ritual habits that is enjoyable. Sometimes just having a really good PvP match where you get a 2.0 KD and you get 28 kills, that could be its own reward for a gamer, to feel like, dang, that was a great match. I popped off. I got a really cool play in there, and that is a rewarding experience in and of itself. So the good news is, if PvP is, tailor-made to be a really good activity in and of itself, it can be sustainable And hopefully that's where we end up. But I gotta tell you, I think that if you are a PvP enthusiast for Destiny, I think you need to set your expectations, unfortunately, pretty low for the time being. And that's not to say that I don't believe in the Bungie developers. I think that the people who are there are probably going to pour their heart and their soul into the content that they make. But that content, from what we're being told, is not PvP content. So, with all that in mind, where do we go from here? I think we continue to wait and see. But if you're a PvP enthusiast, I would just say play Destiny as long as you're enjoying it. And when you're not enjoying it, take 5. There's lots of other games out there to explore and play right now as well, while we wait on Bungie to land on their feet, hopefully, and come up with a good plan that targets PvP enthusiasts as well. Hopefully it happens, and if it doesn't, you've already got something else that you can engage with in the meantime. For me personally, I'll probably continue to play Destiny PvP. It'll be a regular part of my streaming rotation. But as well, I will probably continue to explore other games and PvE content as well. I've actually, the most successful Destiny content I've made in the last 6 months has been PvE content, and it's not even close. Like raid guides, stuff like that, prismatic builds, those videos do so much better than PvP build videos and weapon reviews do right now. I could upload a weapon review and get 18,000 views, and then I upload a raid guide and it gets 130,000 views, and is worth 10 PvP videos in and of itself. So I'll probably continue to explore PvE. I won't cut out PvP content altogether. Obviously, that's my bread and butter, so that'll probably be still in the rotation. But I'll also probably continue to invest in variety content on my other channel as well, because as I've noted before, the viewers just aren't there right now for Crucible content. And, at the end of the day, I play what I enjoy, but also, this is also my job. And it's the other part of it. And I don't know why. Some people, that they really hate that, and they get mad. They're like, oh, that just means that you just do what you need to do to make money. It's like, well, don't you do that when you clock into your job too? Like, you go to work some days and you're probably not like, can't wait to get to work. I'm doing this for the love of it. Sometimes you go to work and you're like, I'm going because I need to. This is something that I have to do. And I will do my best at it, and I will apply myself as best as I can. But I'm going because it's my job. And, sometimes as a content creator, that's what we do too, And I'm not dishonest about anything that I do. But sometimes I go play something because it's where the views are. And, on the variety channel lately, I've got I don't even have 7,000 subscribers over there. And sometimes I get videos that get 65,000, 70,000 views, because that's just where the viewers are. So I will continue to invest in that channel as well. And my whiskey channel, which has been steadily growing over time. It's been a lot of fun. We got an awesome community over there. So if you're ever interested in checking that out, feel free to do that too. But anyways, that's where we're at with Destiny. And those are my expectations for PvP. Hopefully you found this helpful and enjoyed the conversation. If you did, let me know by leaving a like in the videos. That's the best free way to support the content here on YouTube. And I would encourage you to check out our live stream as well. We've got an awesome community over there. In fact, so Monday will be my first time ever playing a Souls game. So I'll be playing Elden Ring. And that should be really fun. I've never done it before. So it'll be like an FPS veteran tries Elden Ring for the first time live stream. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be a good time. Feel free to come around and backseat me. I would love that. Twitch.tv/TheTrueVanguard. Love to see you there. Cheers, my friends. Be warm and well fed, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.